68.
Good evening, Friartown. Hey, that wasn't good enough. Good evening, Friartown. And welcome to the Field of 68 After Dark from Union Station Brewery. I'm John Fanta. He's Jeff Goodman. He's Rob Dauster. Obviously, they're still partying, which is quite impressive after a 12:30 start. Final score today was the Providence Friars 84, the Georgetown Hoyas 76. Fellas, we watched something today that was unprecedented in Big East history. We watched Ed Cooley come back to his hometown as the head coach of Georgetown, give Providence a game, but in the end, how's this room feel about Devin Carter?
Listen, Devin Carter should never have to pay for a fucking meal ever again in Providence. He saved your asses tonight from misery, right? I mean, think about it. If he doesn't do that, who knows? Huge performance. That's a huge performance by Devin Carter in an unbelievable atmosphere. One of the best atmospheres I've ever seen doing this. And again, it was great. To be honest, the fans held it together. Yeah, they were. They were much more respectful than I thought the students would be. You know, obviously the fucking Cooley chants, they were going to be there. It was nothing like 2 years ago when I was in Lubbock for Chris Beard's return. To me, it was at a different level of hatred and going over the line.
Yeah, and I was very impressed with how welcoming they were to us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there were people here that probably weren't the biggest fans of people in the Field of 68 for a while.
They do hate
when
you.
all of that went
They
down.
really don't like
They hate
you.
you more than they hate me. But I felt very welcomed here. I've enjoyed my time in Friartown. We've had quite a few of these, right? Quite a few of these Friartown beers. And it's been a blast. And I do want to give the fans here, and not just the guys here, but the people that were in that building, a ton of credit, because it was loud, it was obnoxious, it was vulgar, it was everything that you want a Northeast, Big East college basketball fan base to be, and nobody threw anything at anybody, right? You never would have crossed that line. So I couldn't have had more fun here on this day.
This game, this scene, his walk out of the tunnel, and then post game, we've got that conversation coming. What did you make of Ed's emotions today, and what stood out to you the most about what he said post-game to the press?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think he wants to turn the page here. He wants to get these fans eventually. Ed Cooley was never hated by anybody before he left Providence. I mean, think about it. He was a guy that everybody liked, and I said he'd never leave Providence because of that. I didn't think he'd ever, kind of like Kevin Durant. When he left Oklahoma City and went to Golden State. He was the golden boy. Ed Cooley was the golden boy, here, everywhere. And then he went to being hated, and I didn't know how he'd be able to deal with that, to be honest. And today he dealt with it, and then the postgame, we'll hear a little bit, he kind of went at Providence. He obviously loves Providence, but he also took some shots at, hey, listen, I built this. I built it, and he did build it. He did build it.
There's a level of pride that he has for the way where he left the program and what Kim English walked into, right? And I think he also understands why there is a level of probably hatred is the word that you want to use right now, right? And he understands why.
Listen, the fans hate Ed Cooley partially. Obviously, he left for a job that you guys consider not even lateral, probably below. I don't, but a lot of you guys do. But it's the connection that I think you guys felt with Ed Cooley, and the fact that he would never leave here because it's home. And again, he's out in the community. You know him. You felt like he was one of your own and he would never leave. And I would be pissed too. And again, eventually, maybe it gets to a point where it's not so bad him coming in, but maybe not with you guys. Who knows?
Here's the deal. I want to also tip my cap to Providence fans because they have created a top-tier, A-plus atmosphere in college basketball. And I'll tell you what, today, I thought coming into today that we could be in for an international type of incident, and they didn't cross that line. You didn't cross that line. You showed your pride, and I actually appreciate some of the "We love English" chants. Because you should, because I thought, there's the Kimmy chants. I thought that down the stretch in this game, we saw Devin Carter, a Big East Player of the Year candidacy. He is a candidate for that award. They needed to win this game. You go down 3, this could have gone south. And Carter, that windmill dunk is one of the...
Hey, look, I told you this. The loudest that I've heard a building in years was after that windmill. And I think part of it was, okay, there was a little bit of nerves. Are we really going to lose? A little bit of nerves. Like, is Ed Cooley going to come back and beat us? There's no way this can happen. But then like that was the moment when it was over, right? That was the capper, and it erupted. And behind us, there were beers flying everywhere in the sky.
That was weird. I've never, ever seen something like that. I looked in the student session, and just beers are fucking flying up in the air. Shit is crazy.
It was like $17 for those Miller Lights. Like, what are you guys doing? That's such a waste of money.
This fan base is in a class of their own. Your passion speaks for itself, and that's why we're here, and that's why we love covering college basketball for people like you. Go ahead.
No, it's a huge home court advantage.
It's
a huge home court advantage. There's a reason why you guys. What's the record now? What's the record now?
In their last 52 home games, they're 47-5.
What's your record?
47.
What's your record?
My record is 22-0. 22-0. Yeah. Now again,
they're gonna kidnap you. They're gonna kidnap you.
Hey, that's way too much baggage and luggage there. If you're kidnapping me, I mean, I don't think. What are you using, a GMC SUV type of? Hey, let's get to our interviews here, and then we'll talk more about this. We got plenty coming up on today's show. But earlier, our guys caught up with Ed Cooley after this game, and we also have an interview with Devin Carter, who had the huge 29-point performance. Here are our exclusive conversations from the AMP earlier today.
All right, Ed, it's over. It's over. You didn't win, but you're exhaling now. What was it like coming into this? What were your emotions like?
Emotions were high. I was excited about the opportunity. I thought we had a couple of really good days of practice and preparation. I thought our players, we improved because the last time out, we didn't play well. Butler, did whatever they had to. But I was proud of our growth and development today. I was proud of how hard we played. We gave ourselves a chance, and that's all you can ask. And hopefully I can do a better job with under 2 minutes to try to execute, to try to get us a win. And we got to get better at the end of games. And normally that's where we're really good.
How difficult was it, though? The walking in to the arena, seeing familiar faces, then walking out to the crowd and hearing the chants. I don't know how. Can you tune those out or not?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, in our business, you got to stay in the moment. It's hard. It's very difficult. You hear some things, but once the ball goes up, it's just like everybody else's profession. You have to be really focused to focus your group. You know what I mean? And it's not about you. It's about the team. I just was proud of how hard we battled.
You said, I mean, listen, you wanted to get to a point where the crowd does eventually, it gets to the point where you can come back here and be beloved. Listen, we've known each other a long time. I always felt like the hardest thing for you to leave this place would be that somebody doesn't like you somewhere, because you're always liked everywhere. So was that hard still to come in and be booed and treated the way you were? And how important is it going to be for you to eventually come back home and be beloved again?
Well, in time, like anything else, you're going to still have people who don't like what happened, and that's okay. I respect their feelings and validate that. But I'm going to appreciate the people that do understand that change is okay. I'm going to appreciate the people that know I gave my heart and soul to not just Providence College, but to our community, to our state, to our city, to, anybody who ever asked for help. We were there to try to do the best that we can to support them. So the ones who are disenchanted and angry about it, they may have to check themselves versus pointing the finger of anything else. Providence College is in a good spot, man. And I'm really proud to say I was a small piece of helping it get to where it's at right now.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.
It was Devin Carter's day at Amica Mutual Pavilion. 29 points, 11 in the final 2 minutes as Providence beats Georgetown 84-76. Devin, a windmill dunk to cap it all off. describe the final minutes of this game and what your mindset was.
I mean, it was a really emotional game for a lot of people. So I knew we had to get that win. You know, we had to do whatever we could. I think that the windmill dunk is something I've always had. I just never tried it in the college game. I was like, what better game to try it now? So it was a big time moment though.
What was the feeling like when you're having exchanges and looking at Ed Cooley, who's on the other side of this?
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's always good to play, against an old coach or anything. There's no bad blood or anything. Because like I said, I mean, he recruited me here in Providence, and if it wasn't for him, I would never be here. So I'm thankful for him bringing me here. But it was had to let him know, Providence still is a hard place to play in. So
you made him aware of that. This atmosphere, to be at the center of it, leading this team. How would you describe that marriage between this basketball team and all the people that come see it?
It's one of a kind. I mean, I don't think there's one other, in my opinion, I don't think there's one other arena or community that's more supportive than Friartown. So, I mean, they help us win games, and it means a lot to play here.
Devin Carter, he is a man. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back to Union Station Brewery in Providence, Rhode Island. After dark, it's Friartown.
I love you here, Fanta.
I love them back. I mean, we do this for the fans.
Yeah, I know.
You did. This is
a
great show.
Turnout. Again, these fans are diehard. Like, that's the one thing with Providence fans. Again, this is what they have here. Like, about the Friars, and that's what they give a shit about, and they're all about it.
Yeah, and
Love it.
It's the passion of the teams in the Big East. And it's not just the knowledge that they have of this team, of Providence. It is the hatred that these guys have for UConn. The question that they're asking us about Kyle Neptune. It's the passion of Big East fans. It might not be the biggest fan bases that you get, but I don't know if there's anything better than that.
Yeah.
And I might be biased, Fanta, just a little bit.
No, I'm with you. And now they're going to head to number 1 UConn on Wednesday. How does this fan base feel about Connecticut? You're right. That's Wednesday. Let me ask you this: 14-6 overall. They're 5-4 in the Big East. Do you think Providence will end up making the NCAA tournament?
I mean, listen. Obviously, when they had Bryce Hopkins healthy, you felt like they could be a Sweet 16 team. Maybe even this year, an Elite 8 team, because it was wide open. Now, I think they will because, again, Devin Carter to me is a star. Like, he's one of the best players in the country right now, and he plays on both ends. There aren't many guys that play both ends of the court like Devin Carter. They're going to need a third guy. They're going to need their point guard play to step it up. If that can do it, then yes. Aduro's a beast down there.
Yeah.
Aduro's a beast. Devin Carter's terrific. They need point guard play. Pierre, Garway, like those two have to step it up. If they do, they'll be a lock tournament.
The thing that they're going to run into, and I was listening to our Fielding the 68 guys yesterday, and basically what they were saying is the committee is going to look at this on what they've done and how they're playing without Bryce Hopkins. And a week and a half ago, they were 0-4, right? 4 straight losses. Picked up a win at DePaul, which is whatever. You just can't lose that game.
Can't lose that game.
It's like beating this group right here.
You get the win. You get the win at Seton Hall, which probably doesn't have as much legs right now as it did when it happened, but it's still a win at Seton Hall. It's going to be a quad one win at the end of the day. You beat Georgetown, which is a game, again, you just can't lose that game. But now you got the stretch coming up. It's at UConn, at Villanova, Creighton at home, at Butler, St. John's at home. After DePaul, then you get at Xavier, at Marquette. You get Villanova at home. You still get Connecticut. You probably have to get 5 or 6 more wins in the Big East to be able to get in. But if you get those quad one wins,
well, win them at home. I mean, again, this team is
that's the difference.
At home. Win all these games at home and then pick off a couple on the road, and you're fine.
Yes. Let me tell you right now, the difference between Providence and other teams that are currently on the bubble is the home court advantage. I mean, it is. Other teams don't have that. There's other fan bases who wouldn't care about a team being in this situation. These guys do. They know all it takes is to win. Upcoming schedule for the Friars: at UConn, at Villanova, home Creighton, at Butler, home St. John's. It's about to get real. Hey, we're just getting started on After Dark. Coming up, was Hilton Magic alive We're going to find out. Plus, Blue Blood Talk, Duke, Kentucky, they were in action today. And we've got plenty more for you. This is the Field of 68 After Dark, live from Union Station Brewery in Providence.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 each and every week of the college basketball season. We have a special offer that will be available starting on Tuesday, January 9th and running through Monday, February 12th, the morning after Super Bowl 58. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, in honor of the big game, you can use the bonus code FIELD158 and you'll get $158 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD158. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD158 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create separate accounts in each state. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the heart of the college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odd boosts, and my favorite, a nice juicy parlay boost. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Field 158.
Welcome back to Union Station Brewery here in downtown Providence, Rhode Island. We got Friar fans. Let me hear you again, Friar fans. They've been going for 14 hours. All right, fellas. Jeff Goodman's here, Rob Dauster's here, and I'm John Fanta. It's a pleasure that you're spending part of your Saturday night with us. Let's go to Ames, where this was a huge showdown today in the Big 12. You've got number 23, Iowa State, number 7, Kansas. And guess what? TJ Otzelberger now has 2 top 10 wins this season. Final score 79-75. The Cyclones win at Hilton. Magic is real. Iowa State is 16-4. Your reaction to the Wizard of Oz doing it again?
Yeah, I'm shocked, but we shouldn't be because he does it every year. He does more with less than almost anybody in the country, right? He didn't fit at UNLV, but he fits at Iowa State where he was an assistant for McDermott, for Hoiberg. And now, again, he's doing it with a combination of some transfers, and Lipsy came back, right? He came back, and that helps. But they beat TCU on the road without him. They beat Houston. I mean, this is a team that probably is as surprising as any team in the entire country right now.
But why are they surprising at this point? Why
are
we
looking at talent?
But why? But we've said that the last 3 years, right?
Have you talked to him? Did you talk to him preseason? What did he tell you?
He seemed quietly confident, but I don't think it was quietly confident to the point of 16-4 right now with a win over Houston, with a win over Kansas. You know what's amazing about it? Like here's one of the craziest stats that you're going to find in college basketball. In the last season and a half, dating back to the start of the 2022 season, Iowa State has 8 wins over AP top 10 teams. 8 wins. Like, why are we surprised that he's finding a way to be able to get this done?
Here's the thing with them. You know what? They fall off at the end of the season. The last couple of years, they've fallen off, and they could do it again this year, but they've done enough.
Sweet 16.
But
they've fallen off.
You know what it is? It's. I think that Iowa State is very similar to Providence in the sense that they are a team where they know what their culture is, they know what their identity is, they know who they are and how they want to play. They have a home court advantage that levels the playing field for them every time that they play at home, right? And if you are able to beat good teams at home, you are that's going to raise your metrics. It's going to raise your profile.
They didn't raise their metrics that way. They raised their metrics by blowing out shitty teams in the non-conference. That's how they did it. They only had 1 walk-on. So when they were up 30 against shitty teams, it wasn't like they were putting on 4 walk-ons. So that helped their net. But they've proven to me that, you know what, they're not just a team that beats up on shitty teams. They're now beating Kansas, Houston, at TCU. So now they're for real.
And here's where there's a bit of a difference with Iowa State, Jeff. we always talk about them for being tough and defensively oriented. Today, they hit 14 3-pointers in this win. 14. I look at it from this standpoint. You got Trey King from Eastern Kentucky a couple years ago. You got Curtis Jones from Buffalo.
He's been awesome lately.
He's been awesome. So the point is, they've gotten these transfers, gen transfers, not from other high majors. They're not going to get that. They've picked up the mid-major guy who's come in and embraced it, and they can win in different ways. That's the thing that I think with Iowa State. It's not always Milan. Say the last name. You're Mr. Pronunciation. Momcilovic. He was in single digits today, and they hit 14 3-pointers in one. Now, let's flip it for a moment. What is Kansas? What's the state of Kansas? What's your outlook on Kansas?
I mean, it hasn't changed. I don't think they can win it all. They don't have the depth. They don't have the shooting.
But here's the wildest part about it, right? This is the first time Bill Self has ever been 4-3 in the Big 12. They have Hunter Dickinson, dude. Yep. Kevin McCullough, dude. Two guys that could end up being Big 12 Player of the Year, right?
Yep.
Juwan Harris, the best winner at the point guard spot that you're going to find in college basketball, right? They got KJ Adams, who really fits at the 4. And you know what they found? They found Johnny Furphy. He had 15 points again today. He's averaging 16 points over his last 4 games.
But they gave up
lost
79 to Iowa State.
I know, but they've lost 2 of those games. Like, that is the wild part. Is they got 4 guys.
How many points did they get from their bench today, Rob?
2.
Not
great.
That's
great.
average.
I know.
Jackson is giving him nothing.
But my point is, when we came, what we said all year long was that what they need to find is that 5th guy. Sure. And they found that 5th guy.
You know what they need now?
You
know what they need now?
They don't have a 6th guy. Exactly. They need a 6th guy.
And the other thing is, when they get into a tournament setting, whether it's Big 12 or NCAA, they're not deep enough. They're not, and they can't win a grinder of a game like that when they're shooting 3 of 22 from 3 or whatever they're going to be. Because they're going to have one of those in the NCAA tournament. As great as Bill Self is, he's not Houdini. He's not. You got to find a bench, and it's kind of on them. They didn't have enough shooting or a bench or really a team that fits together because Juwan Harris has not gotten better offensively. He hasn't. To me, you have to force him. He's got to be more assertive looking for his own, and that hasn't happened.
So Iowa State is in second place in the Big 12 at 5-2 in the league.
Crazy.
Who is the best team in the Big 12?
I mean, Houston's the best team.
Houston.
But I picked Kansas up until a week ago.
Okay.
And now I'm like, all right, maybe 4-3. I don't know. I think this thing's going to go down to the end.
Yeah, it's going to go down to the end. Whoever wins the league is going to be like 15-5. But the thing about Houston, I know they don't have those great wings yet. They are 2 possessions away in road games from being undefeated right now. A 1-point loss at TCU and a 4-point loss. That was a 1-possession game at Iowa State from being undefeated. And the one thing we've learned this year, there ain't no shame in losing a road game this year.
We got some sound from today, and then we have some thoughts from you coming on this. So TJ Otzelberger, if you hadn't seen earlier this week, Jerome Tang and him got into it at the end of the game in which Tang brought up some concerns following Iowa State win over Kansas State earlier this week. Today, Otzelberger had some follow-ups on what stealing, this idea of sign stealing. Here is that sound.
It's incredibly disappointing that after such an awesome game, an awesome environment and atmosphere, that I even have to begin by addressing something that happened, earlier this week. The ludicrous rumors earlier this week that somehow we were trying to gain an advantage looking into our opponents' huddles is an affront to our players, our fans, and to me. It's not who I am. It's not what our program is about. And I'm angry that someone would even make that suggestion. What is factual is one of their staff members cursed out one of our student managers who is mopping the floor under the basket. So let's put this to bed here and now. It didn't happen. It won't happen. And others need to be much more careful with their words moving forward.
All right, Jeff, what is your reaction to what TJ Otzelberger said about this?
Well, first of all, I don't know how you steal signs in basketball, right? somebody's videoing in the crowd. This is what Kansas State basically was accusing them of. Somebody, a kid or student, was videoing their huddle and then sending it back to somebody at Iowa State, one of the coaches. And I just don't understand how this could happen. You played. Like, how could they possibly get that information?
Okay, hold on a minute.
Right.
I have never heard you say to him, that is the most respectful thing you have ever said to him.
Yeah, true.
You played.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, everybody knows everybody's plays and sets anyway. Like, everybody knows them.
Right.
They run them when I'm going to shoot around. They know everything that team's going to do. And then when they stop it, it goes to freelance. Right? That's kind of what happens.
This isn't a Connor Stallions thing.
Like, this is stupid. It's absolutely asinine to me.
Yeah, and I understand why Tang is upset.
But
right?
why?
I
He looks
understand
up.
Why?
and
Wait,
sees
why?
Somebody.
Because he saw what he thought he saw was somebody recording his huddle. Okay, and I understand why he's upset about it. I just don't know what good it does.
First of all, you better
Right? I
have.
just don't
You
know
better
what
have
that does.
proof. You better have actual proof. That's the other thing. You better have proof before you start throwing it out there.
And my only question is, they all bring out these little chairs. Right? We've all seen the huddles of college basketball. They're in the middle of the court. Like, who cares if you videotape it? I don't know. Like, I love Tang, and I know he's fired up about it.
Yeah.
I know he's fired up about
But you
it.
gotta have proof. To me, before you make an accusation or start throwing something out there like this, you better look into it and then throw it out there and go through the league.
It was extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, it was extreme, the heat of the moment type of thing. But at the end of the day, the Iowa State Cyclones are 5-2 in the Big 12, and Kansas is off to their worst start in Big 12 play in Bill Self's tenure at 4-3.
Yeah, it's not that shocking. I mean, honestly, looking at that team, I remember at the United Center Champions Classic, we got done with that game. They beat Kentucky, and I was like, honestly, what did I say? I'm more impressed with Kentucky than I am with Kansas.
You did. I'm going to go off script here real quick because I want to ask you guys about
Go
Texas
right ahead.
Tech.
We got 2 minutes.
Yeah, Texas Tech is 6-1 in the Big 12. They were in first place in the Big 12. They went on the road and they beat number 11 Oklahoma today, right? I mean, what does this team have to do to prove that they are for real?
No, they've
at this
proved
point?
it.
I mean,
They've
I think
proved it.
I mean, I
So
guess
where
they got to
they-
beat one of the big boys.
Well,
You
Houston
got to
or
beat
Kansas.
one of the names at least, right?
Houston or
Kansas
Kansas?
may not be in first or second place, but until you beat Houston or Kansas, all those other teams are you can throw them in a hat to me, right? Now somebody's going to emerge, but right now, Texas Tech, Texas, Iowa State, Oklahoma.
But Iowa State's beaten both.
I don't
these
know.
guys.
I mean,
They beat them
Texas.
both.
No,
Yeah,
Iowa
they beat them
State's a
both.
big boy.
So right
Iowa
now,
State's
Iowa
a big
State
boy.
is above them.
Yeah.
But didn't they beat them both at home?
Yes.
They did.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the home games
And
are.
it's huge.
Yeah,
home
but
court
can't you?
advantages.
I know Norman's not a huge home court advantage
it's
by any
not.
means,
It's
but
not.
Texas Tech still went there and won. And Pop Isaacs,
But Norman's
The left-
not. Norman doesn't have what Iowa State has, what BYU has, what Kansas has, some of these other places in the Big 12.
let me
I will
ask you
say-
this
I
before
will
we
say-
got 60 seconds.
Okay.
How would you categorize the job that Grant McCaslin's done though in year one?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He
Did
done a
you
great
ever
job.
see this coming?
Well, especially because you had
Yes.
some off-the-court drama going on right
Rob,
now.
you
Well,
saw them
in
being
Lubbock.
16-3.
No, of course
Okay,
you did.
well, here's the thing.
Now,
If
they
you
don't
look
have
at-
a lot of big
Look
wins.
at their schedule, okay? I don't think any of these wins are necessarily that surprising in terms of where he is. And if you look at what Grant McCaslin has done throughout his career, you know what he does? Every fucking place that he goes to, he wins.
But you know what he
That's
doesn't
does.
do? He doesn't win with offense, and he's winning with some offense now.
Well, when you got Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint,
Are you
ain't
finally
winning-
a Pop Isaacs believer?
I will say this. What Pop has done so far this season has really, really surprised me. I will apologize.
He wasn't
to
even
Richard.
that good
Look,
today.
I will look into the camera right now and I will say,
Rick
Richard,
Isaacs.
Rick
Rick
Isaacs,
Isaacs.
you were right. I was wrong. You
There
got
you go,
that one
Rick.
right.
By the way,
I
Rick,
got
I
that
hope
one
you're
wrong.
watching.
Yes.
Chance McMillan with 27 points today off the bench. They have options. Like
They do.
Isaacs wasn't even that good
No, but
today.
he's the dude. He's the dude who can take a lot of attention and he can make people better. He's not one-dimensional as a scorer. He can also facilitate.
We've got a break. Coming up, it's blue blood time. Kentucky went to Arkansas, and it was a game. What ended up happening down in Fayetteville? Plus, Duke was in action. What happened to Jared McCain and the Blue Devils? Is there concern for Kyle Neptune at Villanova? All that and more on a loaded edition. Let me hear you, Friartown, of the Field of 68 After Dark.
What's going on, guys? Before we get back to the show, I need to let you all know about the Field of 68 Daily, an all-encompassing college basketball newsletter that arrives in your inbox, you guessed it, daily. For less than $1 a week, you'll wake up every morning to more than 1,500 words detailing everything that you need to know to stay up to date on the world of college basketball. From the notable mid-major upsets to the stars that are out injured to the breakout performances that only our team of college basketball junkies watched. The Daily is edited and produced by Mike Miller, who spent more than 2 decades running NBC's digital written content, and is subscribed by more than half of the Division I coaching staffs, the biggest names in college basketball media, and the agents that work as power brokers in the sport. For just $50 for the year, you get access to the same information that the insiders get. And before we get you back to your regularly scheduled Field of 68 content, let me tell you guys about the Field of 68 merch store. Head over to fieldof68.shop for officially branded Field of 68 apparel. Whether you're supporting your favorite team in the student section or from the couch, there is no better way to gear up than the latest from the Field of 68. The best thing I can say about our merch is the quality of the product. Anyone that has ever worn a t-shirt knows how frustrating it is when the neck gets all stretched out and the bottom of the shirt starts looking like the bottom of bell-bottom jeans. And there's nothing worse than a hoodie that loses its snugness that makes it such a perfect way to stay warm during the cold winter weather. Whether you're shopping for yourself or for the college basketball fan in your life, everything you need is at the fieldof68.shop.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Friartown, let me hear you. We're live from Union Station Brewery. We're in Providence, Rhode Island after the Friars beat Georgetown and sent Ed Cooley's Hoyas back to D.C. with a loss. All right, here we go. We're going to turn to the Blue Bloods. This segment's all about the Blue Bloods. Kentucky, who Jeff saw earlier this week, losing Columbia to South Carolina. Today they go to Fayetteville against an Arkansas team that's been underwhelming. There are 5.5 minutes on the clock. It was a 1-point game. Kentucky wins 63-57. Cats are 15-4. You saw them earlier this week. What did today say to you?
Well, again, that they can win on the road without Robert Dillingham, who's their best scorer, right? He's the guy they can go to for a bucket whenever you want. So what happened? Their offense wasn't that good, right? They got to try to manufacture something. They did it with their defense late in the game. Reed Sheppard made a couple great plays. They got out in transition. And again, to me, Reed Sheppard needs to – he didn't play that much in South Carolina. Cal benched him because, honestly, I don't think he thought that Reed Sheppard was doing a good job with the physicality of South Carolina's big, strong, athletic men. There were men out there. And when you go up against a team of men, you're going to – well, Arkansas has not been good, Rob. So this was more a game that they could not afford to lose than anything else for Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And everything you said is correct. And my biggest issue is that Aaron Bradshaw fouled a guy with 1 second left to make sure that Kentucky didn't cover the 6.5. That's a big problem. Second of all, my other big issue
that's
is you
bad.
called Robert almost as bad as Kevin McCullough hitting a buzzer-beating 3 to cover the 4.5 at Iowa State.
Or the half-court
I
shot
am in pain right now because of that. My biggest issue with what you just said is that Robert Dillingham is their best scorer. That's definitively not true. Antonio Reeves is their best scorer. Antonio Reeves is the best scorer in the SEC. Hold on.
But
Antonio Reeves
Dillingham can go get one whenever. I guess they're different.
Yes,
Obviously,
they're
Reeves
different,
is
but
their
here's the
leading
thing.
scorer.
But here's the thing.
Who are you giving the ball to? You need a
but
bucket.
Reeves
Who are
is
you giving the
averaging
ball to?
19 points per
It's
game.
Reeves.
Really?
Here's my
Really?
argument.
I am.
Okay, and that's why you're a losing basketball player.
Okay.
Ask the guy who played. No, but here's the thing. Listen up.
Have a beer.
Hold on. Listen, Trevor, bring the graphic up because everyone is talking about Dalton Connect, right, and how good Dalton Connect has been. And I'm not going to argue that. The last 3 weeks, Dalton Connect's been the most dangerous scorer in college basketball. Antonio Reeves has had a better season than him. Antonio Reeves is shooting 51% from the floor, 43% from 3, 88% from the line, averaging 19 points on a top 10 team. And nobody's talking about him. That is all-American shit that he's doing.
It is.
That is all-American shit that he's doing. That is SEC Player of the Year shit.
And
that
remember, Antonio Reeves was as good as gone in the summer. So I'm saying it's even more impressive.
Did you know that he took classes at Illinois
It's
State
more
this summer?
impressive that he's been able to come back.
Did you know that Jeff
and
Goodman
do
went to
this
Charleston?
and do this?
You just punched him. Yeah, there was a punch under the table.
Did you know that
Yeah.
his daughter goes to Indiana?
This might go on him before the end of the
We've been waiting all day for a beer shower, and it might happen here.
Probably going to happen.
No, but you're saying down the stretch in a game, you're giving the ball to.
Yeah, because Dillingham can go get one.
No,
Like,
but here's this is why Kentucky is dangerous. You know why?
Because they have a lot of guys who can go
Because
get one.
you can make that argument about Dillingham. You can make that
That's
argument
why.
correctly about Reeves. You can make that argument about Reed Shepard, who, by the way, when they made their run down the stretch, it was Reed Shepard that they put the ball in his hands to make plays. And we haven't talked about DJ Wagner yet. That's why Kentucky is dangerous. If they get better defensively and do what they did tonight against the albeit shitty Arkansas team, we're having a different conversation about whether
Arkansas is a train wreck.
they went on the road. They went on the road and they held Arkansas to 57 points.
Let me ask you a question
Devo
briefly.
Davis is gone. He's gone.
He's gone.
Trevor Brazil's hurt now. I mean, Arkansas, the must-bust, literally, it might be outside here in Providence.
I was going to ask you,
Broken
is there anything to this big picture for Musselman? Is he going to be the coach at Arkansas in the future? Like, could he be taking a different job?
I mean, like, who knows? With Muss, if you offer him more money, he'll look at something else. So if Louisville came at him with more money, I think he would certainly look at it.
If someone offered you more money, wouldn't you?
No, I want to be with you, man. I want to be with you, no matter what.
Be a
I'm
tough
not going
career
anywhere else.
decision
I'm
there.
not going anywhere. No, but, like, here's the thing with Muss. You built it up at Arkansas. They do love you, but Muss isn't for everybody. Eric Musselman is not for everybody. So he better figure it out that, honestly, do it at Arkansas because the fan base is rabid. It's rabid. They're giving you home court advantage, probably the second best job in the SEC. So to me, hey, flip it again, stay there, and see if you can do it again through the portal next year because you made some poor decisions this year.
Let's go to Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke survives past Clemson. How do the Friar fans feel about Duke? Well, Tyrese Proctor.
Look who's here.
All right, Tyrese Proctor hit 2 late free throws with a second left, and Duke beats Clemson 72-71. Jeff, this turned into a wild game. What's your take on Duke's win over Clemson?
Well, I mean, listen, I thought it was a foul, but a lot of people are going to say that might not have been a foul on the road. Right? That's a foul at Cameron.
It might not have been a foul on the road.
I thought it was a foul. You didn't think it was a foul? Really?
If you have to ask that question, it's a foul. If you have to say, I don't know if it's a foul.
No, I think it was a foul.
Then it's yeah.
I think it was a foul.
I think that Clemson gets that call in their building. I don't think Duke does.
At Clemson,
I don't think Clemson gets that call on Cameron. It's just one of those ones.
Agreed.
It's one of those ones.
Here's my bigger picture here is whether or not they won the game or not, to me, isn't as big a deal as the way Tyrese Proctor's played the last 3 games.
Yes.
He's averaging almost 20 points a game. This is the Tyrese Proctor that we needed to see, that we wanted to see, that we really haven't seen all year. The lottery picked Tyrese Proctor.
Yes, and here's the most important part. I know what Clemson's record is. That's a damn good Clemson.
Of course it is.
DJ Hall's a damn good player. Kyle Filipowski was terrible today. Point blank period. Kyle Filipowski was horrible. Jeremy Roach is banged up. He did not play all that well. Tyrese Proctor was awesome. I want to give a shout out to Jared McCain too. He hit a bunch of big shots.
Remember when you told me Caleb Foster would be the better of the freshmen back at the United Center?
Oh, you mean the day he had like 19 points?
And I said, just wait.
What happens in the Champions Classic, dude?
Just wait.
Someone goes nuts and you never hear from them again. That's what happens. Yes. And I fall for it every damn time. No, but Jared McCain not only scored 21 points tonight, he had 3 steals in 56 seconds in the last 2 minutes of the game that won that game for him. He made the plays. Proctor made the plays. You know who didn't? The 2 best players on Duke.
Filipowski was not very good.
He was not good.
But that is the beauty, right?
Yeah, so they won the game.
You can win without Filipowski having even a C game. He was awful.
It makes you say, is this a situation for Duke where when the Friar fans here are saying a bad call today, doesn't it make you say, like, man, if they have their full complement of players, can they get up to that tier? That echelon, right?
Yeah, they have a high upside. We know that. They have a high ceiling.
Who has a higher upside, Duke or Kansas?
Duke.
Why?
Duke. Well, because they're younger, first of all. And you can see where their players are going. Like Kansas, Hunter Dickinson is what he is. Kevin McCullough is what he is. That bench isn't really coming. Right? Furphy's the only one that you could see making a huge jump. Jared McCain's still coming. Proctor's still coming. Flip is going to get healthier and he'll be fine.
Define upside. Who do I think is it who makes it farther in the tournament, or who ends up being a better team?
I'm saying this team. Yeah, I'm saying now, state of things. Who do you think can do it more?
I think Duke has a higher upside in terms of who will be the better team.
Yes.
I think that I would trust a Bill Self team to be deeper in the tournament.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I think when it's all said and done, both of them are like top 10-ish kind of teams.
So a quick interlude before we hit on North Carolina. The other takeaway this afternoon was people that we were obviously here, we were paying attention to every game, but the take starting to emerge here, the Atlantic Coast Conference could be like a 3-bid league. 3! Terrence Oglesby, I know you're in your car listening.
Where is CO?
Jeff,
this is a mid-major league now. Like you can't argue anymore. It looks like a mid-major league. Duke, Carolina, Clemson.
If you were Jim Phillips, if you were at the ACC, how worried would you be about the state of your league?
You got to figure something out right now. And oh, by the way, like Jim Larrañaga and Leonard Hamilton are going to be out soon.
That's pretty good.
They want to know what Terrence Oglesby is right now to answer for the ACC.
You guys can't understand him anyway. Trust me.
Yeah. All right, let's turn to North Carolina. They go down to Tallahassee, and they win 75-68. They hold off Florida State. Guys, R.J. Davis is an All-American. I mean, he is an All-American, and Carolina can win on the road, Jeff.
Here's the biggest thing with R.J. Davis, and I talked to him about this the other day. Not only is he offensively playing out of his mind right now, efficient, scoring, but last year he was a liability defensively. Caleb Love was awful defensively. R.J. Davis has now become a plus defender. Harrison Ingram's been awesome. So now Armando Bacot can have a game like he did today, and they can still win on the road against a decent team.
It's the combination of R.J. Davis and Elliot Cadeau being what they were tonight offensively, right? R.J. Davis had 24, Elliot Cadeau had 16 and 6 assists. But what's more impressive to me is that you're playing two guards in a backcourt that nobody thought were going to be good defensively, that are both 6 foot, and North Carolina is still a top 5 defense in college basketball right now. So my biggest question with North Carolina is the way that they're playing and the way that they're guarding, how explosive their offense is. Like, that to me right there screams a team that can get to a Final Four, a team that can win a national title. Are you all the way bought in that this defense is going to stick?
Yes, I'm all the way in on Carolina. I have them number 2 in the country right now. I like them more than I like Purdue. I know that's a bold take, but it's because Bacot and Davis have been there before, and the pieces are fitting.
Fanta, who do you have number 1 in the country?
The team that plays tomorrow, the Connecticut Huskies. But they've been there before. They're on a redemption tour of their own. They didn't even make the tournament last year.
Well, yes, because all their players were losing players last year. So they've all got that, honestly, right now, a bad taste in their mouth that they want to prove to people they're not going to go out that way. I don't know if I would say I trust them that much yet.
I know.
Like, I still kind of want to see. Obviously, they've been great defensively, and they've won close games.
Are they inflated by their league?
Well, that's part of it, too. Florida State's not great. Pittsburgh's not great. Like, some of the places they've won, and I saw them win at Clemson without their students being there. Like, they've won their good wins where other teams have lost bad games. So I give them credit. I just don't know if I put them above, that much further above when the tournament starts. Kansas, Duke, some of those things.
So you can make the argument that North Carolina is a better team and would beat Purdue. You cannot make the argument that they should be seated above them in the NCAA tournament. It's Purdue and UConn.
Right.
Well, frankly, Purdue is the clear cut. Purdue's number 1.
Right.
UConn's number 2.
Resume-wise, it's not even close.
Resume-wise, they are.
Yes. Yeah. So
Resume-wise, they are.
That is my only thing with North Carolina is, like, I don't know if I fully buy them defensively yet. And I know how good they've been, and I see it. I see what they're doing. And Elliot Cadeau and RJ Davis, like, the most important thing they do defensively is they try. They try.
We got a break. Coming up next, Arizona was in action today. What did the Wildcats do, and how good is Caleb Love? Plus, Indiana and Illinois in a Big Ten showdown. Auburn. Is Auburn fraudulent? We'll answer those questions and more. This is the Field of 68 After Dark from Providence, Rhode Island.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 each and every week of the college basketball season. We have a special offer that will be available starting on Tuesday, January 9th and running through Monday, February 12th, the morning after Super Bowl 58. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, in honor of the big game, you can use the bonus code FIELD158 and you'll get $158 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD158. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD158 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create separate accounts in each state. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the heart of the college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odd boosts, and my favorite, a nice juicy parlay boost. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Field 158.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Let me hear you, Providence.
Hey, we even have the lumpy dumpers here.
We even have a lumpy dumper here. He's a famous Providence fan for those listening on Sirius, wondering who that is. We're at Union Station Brewing. It was a great day for the Friars. They beat Georgetown in Ed Cooley's return game. It got tight, but they won. Let's turn to the rest of the country now. Let's go in the Pac-12. Arizona goes to Oregon. And Caleb Love continues to be great. He was great in this one. A career-high 36 points as Arizona beats Oregon 87-78. You're asking for the basketball, Rob Dauster. Why?
Because he's going to kill me.
What are you going to blame on Caleb Love tonight?
He didn't get 40.
What?
Why didn't he get 40?
Oh, come on. Can you give
Caleb
Caleb
Love
some
was
credit?
awesome. No. Caleb Love, listen, man, you were efficient. You played one hell of a game. It was the first win for Arizona in Eugene since 2015.
Wow, that's a long time. That's
long
9
time
years
for that Arizona program. But Caleb Love put him on his back, and these are the games that you want to see more of. Maybe not 36, but I just want to see more efficiency out of Caleb Love.
Do you want to know why Caleb Love was more efficient tonight?
Why?
What, more than anything else?
Yeah.
Kylan Boswell showed up.
I know, he had 14 points.
Kylan Boswell had 14 points.
That
3
helps.
assists, took 12 shots, got to the foul line.
Malo was
made a
good
couple
too.
Threes. To me, I hear what you're saying about Caleb Love's efficiency, and you're not wrong. But when they're getting nothing else out of their backcourt, he has no choice but to go try to make something happen. And on the nights where defenses don't have to focus on just him,
he can revert. That's all I'll say is he can revert back to the bad habits, which I get it. Obviously, you've had him for a while. It's hard to get rid of him in 5 months.
The last 2 Arizona losses, you and Kylan Boswell had the same number of points. Made the same number of shots, took the same number of free throws.
He makes a lot more money. He makes a lot more NIL than I probably did.
One more assist than you did, okay? So when you don't have to guard, when you don't pay any attention to one guy, the offense has to run through the dude that can go get a bucket. And when you come in with help,
the problem for me is I think more should run through Pella Larson.
Yes.
I really believe that when I watch Arizona.
Why? Okay. Why do you talk him down?
I don't talk him down.
Oh, he's a terrific player.
But he's like the compliment guy.
Oh,
you know
I don't think so.
I'm not saying he's got to be averaging 20 a game. I'm saying you got to run more through him so that he can get 12 and 5 every night.
He's already averaging 13 a game.
Right. Like you don't.
Look, at the end of the day, Jeff.
But
Jeff,
the ball in his hand.
Jeff.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
What I don't understand is the guy that has made an entire career out of saying they don't have enough point guard play. We need
No,
point guard
I know.
play.
Boswell's-
They're sitting here with the team that's not.
It's
going to
go as far as they go.
He's trying to blame everybody else. What is going on here?
They-
I feel like I'm living in a simulation.
I agree with
We've
that.
done this with Kai Boswell. I agree with you. When he scores 0 points, they have 0 chance to win.
Today he gave them a solid contribution.
Yes.
That's all he has to do.
Again, he's not going to be the player that we saw at Cameron. That's not the real Kai Boswell.
Also,
It's not.
no, Oregon not very good defensively.
No, they're not.
I mean, they don't guard.
No, but again, Oregon's probably the third or fourth best team in the Pac-12, which I'm not sure what that's saying.
Yeah, I don't know what
No, I don't know what that's saying because, again, we talked about the ACC getting 3 teams in. Like Pac-12, and I'm going to joke here, but truthfully, who else other than Arizona today is a lock, an absolute lock to get in?
You know who's getting really, really close to that status?
Who?
Washington State. Washington State beat Colorado.
They're not a
again.
lock.
They got a win over Arizona
No, but
at
they're-
home. They
yeah.
have no bad losses.
Shout out to Kevin
Colorado
Sweeney.
Knicks.
Kevin Sweeney talked up Kyle Smith
The fighting Kyle Smith, man. Keep an eye on him.
and Miles
The
Rice,
Cougs.
our guy.
Yeah, Miles Rice.
All right, let's turn to the Big Ten.
All right.
Okay. In the Big Ten today,
Do we
very
have
quick.
to?
Yeah, we do. We're going to. In the Big Ten today, Northwestern thumped Ohio State. They beat them by 25. Iowa beats Michigan. That's not surprising. Maryland absolutely crushed Nebraska. That's concerning for the Huskers. But the game we're going to talk about right now is Indiana and Illinois. Illinois beats Indiana 70-62. Not surprising. Got a little bit scary. But Terrence Shannon Jr. made 6 free throws in the final minute as the Illini win. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, first of all, I've decided I think I could play for this Indiana Hoosiers basketball team. You know why?
Didn't you question that? Didn't you say
know
they might
why?
have more talent than UConn?
Why do you think? No, I did not. I'll get to that. Why do you think I could play for this Indiana basketball team?
You can't shoot. You can't shoot
I
it.
can't shoot.
Yeah.
Right. I cannot make a 3. You know how many threes they made today? The goose egg, 0.
And they only lost by 8.
We've done this over and over and over. But if Mike Woodson had put together a team with some shooters, and you're in the state of Indiana, so like you could probably go down the street and find one, and they have none. They have none. So like, how can you expect to win? The fan base is turning. They're turning on him because it's not just the results. It's how this team looks. And Mackenzie Mbako today played more forward, which is what he is, right?
But he's not going
Because
anywhere.
Khalil Ware was out. Khalil Ware was out, so you have to play Mbako at the 4. That's what he is. So actually, they're more effective up front that way. But if you don't, and Xavier Johnson looked better, but you got to make threes. You got to make threes.
So you say all this stuff about Indiana, and like I get it. They can't shoot. It's the same story.
Can't shoot.
My bigger takeaway from this game is like Illinois is not right. There's like I don't know if it's Terrence Shannon is dealing with everything coming back.
Of course,
and all of
Is
that.
this surprising?
He's 1 for 14 from 3.
We
Switch
just
back.
talked about this.
You really
I am
thought
not-
he'd come right back and be boom. Like nothing ever happened.
No, but I didn't think he'd come back and look like Jeff Goodman out there. Like,
There's
that's-
no chance they're making the Final Four. None. Zilch.
See, I don't.
They're a Sweet 16 team at best.
I get what you're saying.
Your point guard
No,
play thing
But
from
I get what you're saying, but like at the same time, when
I don't get it.
you have,
I'm so high on them.
I'm not high on them, but I just know what they can be when they're at their best. Like when they're
No, I agree. They're not. Guy in the crowd just said they're not a second
He
weekend
thinks
team.
they could be a Final Four team.
They're not. No, that's over. That's over right now. Now they've got a long way to go. If Terrence Shannon can get
right
back,
now, that's over right
Terrence
now.
Shannon has to get
Right
back to
now.
being the
Exactly.
second best player in the country.
Exactly.
He's not going to do it.
That's
He's not
literally-
going to do it.
that's
He's
literally-
not shooting 40% from 3 again.
You didn't think he was going to shoot 40% from
He
3
did it
to
for how
start.
long? How long did he do it for? 10 games.
They're just not consistent
It's a
enough.
small
You
sample,
know,
Rob.
you know how many games are left in the season?
It's a
How
small
many games?
sample.
How many games are left in the season?
How many games were in his career? Tell me his 3-point percentage in his career.
Also,
I'm sorry. You don't understand the players can get better throughout their career.
But
Unless
you
you're
can't
Robbie
tell
Hubbard.
You
me-
said this
Then
about
you get-
Devo Davis.
then you
didn't
get
you?
wor-
Wait. You said this about Devo Davis last year at the end of the year.
Well,
How did that go?
Devo Davis could have been great if he didn't
How
have
did
a
that go?
as a coach.
let's turn our attention to a top 10 team that
You've
now,
had too many prior time beers.
yeah, right,
Cutting you off.
and now has lost back-to-back games. A tough week for Bruce Pearl's Auburn Tigers. I don't know if there's an after dark curse, but since we talked to
There might
Bruce
be.
Pearl,
There might be now.
went 0-2. Final score: Mississippi State 64, Auburn 58. It was a Mississippi State type of game. It's what Chris Jans has done, but what is your thought process with Auburn going 0-2 this week?
When we talked to Bruce Pearl, what did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say? I think he knew this was coming. I really did. He said it before the season. We're probably the sixth best team in the SEC, right? They're playing over the head. Everybody's kind of heaping praise on them. They don't have an NBA player. They're good because they play hard. They were sharing the ball early in the season. They weren't turning over a ton. Again, I think he knew this was coming, Rob.
Probably, but they've also lost on the road in like two
pretty good teams.
Right. So like an Alabama
there's
team
no shame.
that's really good,
Right.
and a Mississippi State team that I think is a tournament team.
Is Alabama
That's
really good? Are they really good?
I think that they are a good. Well, define really good.
Here's
Yeah,
my
they're
question.
Like a top 25
if you're
team.
a top 5 team, which Auburn was this past week, or top 10-ish, let's say, shouldn't you go on the road and win one of those?
Probably, but what did Houston do when they lost to TCU and Iowa State? Is Houston a top 10 team?
Yes.
And they lost 2 games on the road.
They did.
2 close games on the road
They did.
to teams that are like pretty good in their league.
Yep.
I don't hear you crushing Houston.
No, I feel better about Houston because I think their defense is elite.
Yes.
Their defense is elite.
And LJ Cryer.
And I trust their backcourt. Shed and Cryer.
And Shed.
Well,
I trust them both.
that is the biggest thing about Auburn is that Aiden Holloway, the guy that we saw at the start of the year,
is not the guy we've seen.
Now he looks like a freshman.
Right.
They pulled him out of the starting lineup tonight.
Yeah.
Katie Johnson started
because
tonight.
he's making poor decisions now.
Yes.
And we saw him. We saw him in the
biggest thing. He's
circuit.
a
What was he?
freshman.
A chucker. He was a scorer. He was not a guy who
You know
made
what he
people
is?
better.
You know what Aiden Holloway is?
Go ahead.
He is a guy that when he's a junior, is Jared Harper.
Yeah, maybe.
And what was Jared Harper when he was a freshman and a sophomore?
Yeah,
It's fine.
he was a little more of a pass first guy in my opinion. But yes,
So quickly, we have 1 minute. You have 20 seconds to tell me this. Who right now do you trust the most in the SEC?
I know who he's going to say.
Who?
Tennessee. Right?
I think so.
I don't trust anybody. You're like,
I
nobody
think
stands out.
all of the top 4 teams in the SEC are good.
Yeah, they are
I
all
think
good.
they're all like top 10-ish kind of teams.
And who are those top 4 teams, quickly?
Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky.
Alabama's not there. I wouldn't put them in that group yet. I would put Kentucky and Tennessee. I'll say Tennessee.
That's going to do it for us on Sirius XM Friartown. Let us hear you. For Rob Dauster, for Jeff Goodman, I'm John Fanta. Thank you to Union Station Brewery. Don't go anywhere. The afters are next over on YouTube and X. Thanks for tuning in to Feel the 68 After Dark.
Hold on. For the listeners that are still here with us, we have big news, guys. I'm thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this. When Tom, and yes, I'm calling him Tom, we're on a first-name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, he had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this. You get all the college hoops content you want in one place. Articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, content from your favorite creators. The more content you consume, the higher your rank. As you continue to level up its status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68. That's F68. Or tap in at the link in the description below to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast. It is really that simple. Back to John Fanta.
Welcome to the afters from Union Station Brewing. I want all the viewers here to understand, after midnight, we have a full house here of people. In 3, 2, 1, tell me what you thought of today's win. All right. So against. All right. Okay. Against my better judgment. All right. Against my better judgment, we're gonna take questions from the audience for a second here. So who wants to ask their first question?
We need your name.
What?
No, we need your name.
No, go ahead.
No,
Right
that's
here.
not happening.
Right here. Okay. What's your question?
All I hear about is the Georgetown brand.
Yeah.
Better than the Providence.
He said all he hears is about the Georgetown brand.
It's 2024.
It's 2024, not 1984. Okay. So he says how is Georgetown a better brand if Providence is what it is today and Georgetown is an empty Capital One arena?
You want the truth? It's Ed Cooley compared to Patrick Ewing and John Thompson III. There's your truth. Ed Cooley made it a better program today than Georgetown. Georgetown, to me, has a higher ceiling because of the recruiting base. DMV. No, the recruiting base. You can get, now again, it's changed a little bit with transfers, but you can still get bounce back guys easier. There's more kids from that area. Hunter Dickinson probably would have gone to Georgetown if they were better. Right. What I'm telling you is he would have wanted to stay home. He would have wanted to stay at Georgetown if they were a better program.
But they're not.
He went to Kansas because they were really good.
Yeah.
Right?
How many years does that have at Georgetown, though?
How many years does Ed Cooley do at Georgetown?
7.
I'll
7,
say 5
8.
to 7.
You think less? You think less?
I'll say 5 to 7 years. I would say 5 to 7. I don't think he coaches forever. I think he wants to get into
You gotta
TV eventually.
understand, what Georgetown has, they have NIL. They have NIL. And if you have that, right, and that's why you guys should be good. You should be good in the future because you have NIL. You have
All right.
people that are willing to. Boston College doesn't have NIL. They have no shot.
We're willing to take another question here. Keep it appropriate. Go ahead. All right. So,
What do we think English's recruiting, like, what is he using in recruiting conversation that makes him attractive?
a fan asked what Kim English is doing in recruiting.
NIL. You better have NIL because if you don't have NIL, none of the other shit matters. Doesn't matter. But you have a rabid fan base. You have that building. You have, again, you've got the practice facilities also.
But that doesn't matter anymore.
Well,
much.
it does.
It matters,
matter.
but it doesn't matter
It's not
as much.
Ultimately, an end all be all like it used to be. But you're selling recent success, the fan base, and you better have NIL. I'm telling you, the number one thing that matters right now. A great recruiter of yesteryear is not a great recruiter of today.
And for the record, the practice center matters, but now that's expected. That's like if you have a bad practice facility, but you still have great NIL, the NIL is going to trump the practice facility. A kid will go shoot out on the beach if it means that he's getting paid. Right? You don't judge what the room looks like that you're shooting in. We have a question here. Go ahead,
For
sir.
who? For Kim? No, he was in the NBA for 1 year. Irrelevant. Huh?
Who would win in a game right now? So it's amazing to me that so here's the thing. This is my favorite part about Big East fans.
Question.
No, it's not a weird question. This is why it was a good question. Because the thing is about Big East
I don't think it
fans,
was a good question.
the one thing that would bring Villanova, Providence, Connecticut, Georgetown, St. John, Seton Hall fans together is that who do they all hate? They really don't like Syracuse. They really don't like Syracuse.
Even with Boeheim being gone, like what? They're irrelevant. Syracuse is irrelevant right now.
When was the last time they were relevant?
They're irrelevant.
We got games to get to. Okay, we got other games to get to. Okay, we had another.
We'll get back.
We'll get back to you guys.
We got to do a little bit on some other teams. We will get back to you guys. Promise.
We have had back-to-back Saturdays of triple overtime games. Seton Hall and Creighton last week. This week, it's TCU and Baylor. And wouldn't you know it, Jamie Dixon's Horned Frogs just keep finding ways to win these signature games, 105-102. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, Jameer Nelson Jr. was awesome, right? He carried him today. I think he finished with 30-something. You know, they had that hot streak. Then they lost a couple games on the road. One at home to Iowa State, right? And one on the road. Again, I feel like, and we talked about this before you did a show the other night. I don't know if the Big 12 is as good as we thought it was going to be or what it is now. A lot of people are like, oh, my God, look at these teams, TCU and Oklahoma, and they're ranked and this and that. I think they're fringe tournament teams at the end of the day.
I think that fringe tournament teams is probably pushing it a little bit. But it's not like TCU is a top 15 team in college.
I mean, it's a great win today, okay?
The thing about,
I don't want to take anything away from what they did today.
It was a thrilling win. It was a fantastic game. Jacoby Walter hit a big shot. Jameer Nelson Jr. was unbelievable. And to me, what makes the Big 12 so much fun is that there are, like, if you look at the top team to, like, team number 11.
Yes.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat anybody any given night.
They're all, like, between number 10 and number 35 in college basketball. Right.
If the top team went on the road to the number 11 team, the line would be it would be less than 4 or 5 points.
But all of them are like top 25-ish kind of. I just don't think that there's a ton of teams that you look at them and say that team can go out and win a national title.
National title?
I'm
not sure you could say they can get to this. A lot of them, you're like, I think
see right now the one
feeling is they're going to get high seeds, and a lot of them are going to get upset.
Right now, the only team in the Big 12 that I look at and I say,
Houston.
Okay, that is a Final Four.
Houston.
When you watch them, it's a Final Four team.
Man, this guy's eating your pizza.
No, my favorite part about this is that we've moved on to a different topic, and yet there are still like 5 hands up into the air of people waiting to ask a question. I mean, my God, they are
We're
ready.
going to get to it.
I do want to give a thought on this, though. TCU should not be that surprising. They are top 10 in experience in the country. They have old dudes like Tennyson. We saw Jameer Nelson Jr. today go up. They also have the most career 1,000-point scorers on any college basketball roster in the country with 8. In other words, they could ride a different guy on a different night. Emmanuel Miller's had massive games for them. Nelson's had massive games for them. Anderson, they got Avery Anderson from Oklahoma State. But more than anything, you talked about Otzelberger doing what he does at Iowa State. TCU basketball has never been this good as they are under Jamie Dixon. Seriously, Jamie Dixon is one of the most underrated coaches in the country.
A lot of coaches always said this was kind of a sleeping giant. That and SMU were kind of sleeping giant type jobs. Dixon obviously went there. He's kept it where they're nationally relevant now for a good period of time.
They don't know how good they have it.
He's changed what he does. Like, that's the most impressive thing to me about what he's
so
done.
ugly.
Like, it would be slow, it would be grinded out, it would be possession by possession. And now they go like this.
Now, the only thing that's remained the same,
Part of the reason they do that,
what's remained the same?
His
Their
hair.
garbage non-conference schedule.
And his hair.
Every year.
Yeah.
He's got great hair. Great hair.
No, but, like, they can't shoot. Like, he realized we don't have guys that can make shots. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get some guys that are racehorses, guys that get up and down the floor, guys that want to force turnovers, that want to play like this, and just lean all the way into it. So I got to give him credit for being able to do that.
I'm sorry.
Question,
okay,
Fanta?
Someone asked a question asking if Tyler Kolek can read. Yes, he can. We love Tyler Kolek. He can read. It's a troll job.
Where did this come from?
We love Tyler Kolek.
Where did this come from?
This came from Providence, right?
What is this?
No, I'm saying the reading ability.
I went to Cumberland earlier this year.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Okay, let's get to the Big East.
We're gonna get him on a show. We're gonna get Kolek on a show and have him.
No, I want to get to.
Before we get into that, I want to ask about the Texas horns down thing. I don't understand why horns down has become like the worst thing that you could possibly say to anyone. Did you guys see what happened today? Fanta, did you see what happened today?
Yes.
There were students sitting in the front row of the BYU student section.
Yes, horns down.
Had a shirt that said horns down.
I don't get it. I mean, I get it.
And then Mark Pope made them change their shirts.
What?
He went and made
Jeff, come on.
Shirts that said horns down.
Really?
Change their shirts.
Why is this? This is ridiculous.
Who Who cares?
Like, did
He
Texas
didn't want to
earn?
hurt Rodney Terry's feelings, obviously.
No.
He felt bad.
Listen, Jeff.
He felt bad for Rodney a couple weeks ago.
Here's
Jeff.
here's the craziest thing to me.
They're moving out of the Big 12. If anything, it should be doubled and tripled down hatred at them.
What are we doing here?
Is it
Come on,
because
man.
of?
Look,
But BYU is very moral.
Rodney
No,
needs
come
to-
on, man. I promise you. I
They're not.
promise
They're
you.
tough.
Those fans,
They're
22,000 people
Oh,
in the
they're out of their
Marriott Center
minds.
are screaming and yelling and saying horrible stuff.
Have you been to the Marriott
And the
Center?
problem is the kids wearing a
I've
horns
been.
down
They
shirt.
say I haven't.
And they're mad at you.
Yeah, I didn't.
They're
put him in
mad.
the top
They're mad at
20.
him. Well, McCall
I've been
said
there.
McCall said your list
Dayton.
wasn't very
I
good.
know,
Dayton, yeah.
How many has McCall been? That's what I want to know. How many has McCall
Well,
been?
here's my question. Why did you have the deemed over 19? That was unacceptable. Ask
do
him
you
where he had Gamble Pavilion.
Nowhere.
Now
Doesn't know ball.
Danny will
Right,
see
I'm
you.
all
in-
shit tomorrow, aren't I?
Dan, yeah.
Doesn't know ball.
Where are you going tomorrow? Go ahead.
Gamble. No, Hartford.
No,
we're going to Hartford.
yeah.
We're going to
Guys.
Hartford. Hartford.
Jeff Goodman is heading to Hartford, Connecticut for Xavier and UConn. There it is. All right, let's. Oh, by the way, BYU beat Texas in Provo.
Big win.
That's a big win.
Yeah.
No, but give him a loss for that shit. That's unacceptable.
Oh,
Come
stop.
on, man. Hey, Mark Pope made him put on different shirts because it said horns down. Why is he worried about that during the game? Why is he paying attention to what's in the front row
Shouldn't
of the
have.
student
Somebody
section?
told him.
Let's turn to the Big East.
Maybe that's why he's 3-4 in the
So,
Big 12 right now.
I think that if there were a program in the country today that should feel gut punched,
I know who it is.
it's Villanova. You spend $3 million on this roster.
I know.
Villanova was up by 11 with 4 minutes to go at Hinkle Fieldhouse today. They lose in not one but two overtimes, 88-81 to Butler. They were in the driver's seat, Jeff, and they collapsed with veteran players and a $3 million roster. What is your thought process with Villanova? Where's the panic meter at scale 1 to 10?
27.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get out of them.
1 to 10, where's the panic meter?
27.
I mean, it's like 9.
9.
It's like 9. I mean, again, Kyle Neptune, like you've got everything. Well, you don't have everything at your disposal. You've got a lot of money. And that's where, again, like NIL, you can have it. But if you spend it the wrong way, it doesn't matter. And they spent it without a point guard. And I still say if they had a good point guard, they would be fine. They'd have 3 more wins right now.
They probably would.
They wouldn't have lost
Probably would.
today. They would not have lost today.
That's a
told
tough
you,
loss.
I told you this the other day, Jeff.
They can't run offense.
There's no team in the country that I dislike watching more than Villanova right now, and it's because they back you down. They just go and try to post everything up, and it's not the same as it was under Jay. Because under Jay, it was entertaining. It was slow-paced basketball, but it was entertaining.
You know what else
basketball.
Jay had? Ryan Arcidiacono, Jalen Brunson,
No, you're right. Look, it's not
Colin
just.
Gillespie.
You're 100% right. They don't have a point guard.
Right.
But here's my biggest
No,
issue.
but
Jay-
here's my
Jay-
biggest issue. My biggest issue is this. They don't make adjustments within the course of the game. They do the same thing over and over again. You keep on doing the same thing. Their reliance on the three-point shot for a team that has struggled with threes, make a change.
But here's the problem.
Make a change.
They're not getting good threes. Here's the issue. There's a difference between a 3 and a good 3 that you're shooting. They're not getting open looks. They're not taking good shots. And here's my take. Okay, I said this the other night. Jay Wright is the best teacher of basketball that we've seen in a long time when it comes to teaching how to play the game. Because what he did, they didn't run plays, right? They had like 3 or 4
It's a
calls.
principle-based system.
It was
right?
a principle thing. It was a concept thing. He taught his guys how to play basketball. It was drive, paint touch, get a kick, create a closeout, drive, create a closeout. Kyle Neptune's trying to do the same thing. He is not the same teacher of the game. He's just not the same teacher of the game that you're going to find. And I don't know how you fix that, right? I think, and we talked to McCall about this, like, I feel like Kyle Neptune is trying to be Jay Wright instead of
You can't try to be someone you're
instead
not.
of being
Just be
Kyle-
yourself.
Instead of being Kyle Neptune.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something where just being a young coach.
But here's the thing. When you spend the
he's
kind
in
of
his
money.
Third year. He had 1 year before he got to. And again, last year he had a mulligan a little bit.
Here's what I'll say.
You don't get one for this year.
No, because here's the thing. And this is something that covering the Big East, you figure your way through. You've known it for a long time. But it's not like Villanova University is that different from a Providence College if you take away Jay Wright.
Agreed. Right.
If you take away Jay Wright. My point is,
A lot of the schools in the Big East
are the
very
same,
similar.
except one.
Right. Yes.
But the thing is, no, not to Paul, except for Connecticut. I mean, there's other. Yeah, they just said be nice to Paul. My point is, these Villanova people are giving the money that they're giving because they are thinking Final Four. When you don't even make the NCAA tournament, guess where that NIL money goes?
How do you think Jay Wright feels? He's helping raise that money for the program. How do you think he feels watching them struggle?
All right, I got a question for you guys.
He handpicked.
I know.
I got a question for you
I
guys.
would.
That's
You
bad.
have to bet your mortgage on one of these two things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Butler or Villanova making the NCAA
Butler.
tournament. Who you taking?
Butler. If you were asking me right now, Butler. Hey, Butler beat Texas Tech.
Villanova beat North Carolina.
I know Villanova's got some good wins.
Villanova's
And some
lost 4 in a
bad
row.
losses.
Villanova's unraveling.
Yeah, I think the
Well,
battle
that's the
falls out for
difference.
Villanova.
Yeah.
You
But can we
trust
give
that
some
motto.
credit to Butler though? Like we can sit here and we can.
Ad's
we can
done a
crush-
great
yeah,
job.
we can crush
He has
Villanova
done a
as well.
great job with this team.
We should talk about somebody who's got no NIL.
No.
And he got a bunch of transfers, like Telford from Northeastern, like who's
Pierre Brooks, who's a
Pierre
star.
Brooks didn't
He's a
play.
dog, man.
That's a
Hey,
good
good.
question from the crowd.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna try. That's a very good question from the crowd.
Go ahead.
The crowd just asked, which school in the country?
which guy?
Yeah, what's your name? Tyler.
What school in the country is spending the most money?
He's asking what school in the country spends the most money in NIL. They think Kansas.
I don't know, because again, there's no.
Give me a top three.
Yeah, I
Top
mean,
three.
Villanova's up there. Villanova's in the top 5.
The hardest thing about this,
You know, the SEC, some of the SEC teams probably because of football. Because I would say Tennessee.
The hardest
Tennessee
thing
would be
about
in the
this-
top 5 somewhere.
Jeff, the hardest thing about this is that there's no like the contracts are not like binding. You know, like there's no way to actually know what these guys are getting. You can hear the rumors. For the most part, when you hear rumors, divide
They're
it in
false,
half,
though.
then divide it in half again, and
I
that's
mean,
probably what the right answer is.
Duke's got listen.
And the
Duke's
other part
gotta
about
be
it
up
is
there.
you make
They're gonna
when you
be
make
top
these
5.
deals, there's nothing that really stops the teams from kind of saying like, all right, we're done paying, because that happens too. Those
Well,
NIL checks stop showing up.
No, but a lot of it is, like, for instance, you'll say to a player, like, we're going to give you 500. We'll give you 500, our collective. And then when you get here, we'll assure you you're going to make another 500.
The crowd is trying to rank them with Duke, Villanova. The crowd
No,
is
it's
trying
not
to
when you
understand
show up,
how
it's more
offers
like
get made with
You'll
NIL.
make it in the community. You'll make it. Like we're not guaranteeing you. We're not writing it out. But take our word for it. And a lot of their words for it doesn't happen. Because if they don't play well or if the team sucks, they're not going to get that other 500.
It's a Duke. This is Duke, Kansas,
No, they'll get the
Kentucky,
first 500
Nova.
because most of the players now have agents who have contracts written up. They didn't a year ago. Almost all of them now have contracts written up, so they'll get that first 500.
You
no matter
didn't.
what.
You did not answer. A fan asked, "Where's the guaranteed money?"
It's the first one that's in the contract, and then there's another one that basically I'll say to you, "Hey, come here. Here's the 500. Sign it, but you're gonna get another 500. Don't worry." Well, we don't know.
They asked who's
And
giving out the
again,
most money.
We don't know the answer.
We don't know the answer.
We don't know the answer.
We really
It's not
don't.
Public. Yeah.
It's like a Tootsie Pop. The world will never know.
we can-
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know. Seriously, we don't know. There are Providence fans. There are questions that you want the answers to that the world may never know. All right? Let's keep talking about what we saw today, okay? Because we talked about a bunch of stuff.
Enough of
It was a
Kadari Richmond.
yes.
Right.
Marquette blew out Seton Hall. Kadari Richmond is sore. He's banged up. He's missed 2 games, and now Seton
Why are
Hall.
they so in on Kadari Richmond?
Well, I think because Seton Hall was red hot. They were in first place in the Big East, and now they've dropped 2 games to Providence Marquette. I think they're still on the right side of the bubble, but it's getting bubbly.
You had him ranked about a week ago.
Because they deserve to be. So they deserve to be ranked. Okay, they had wins over
bad losses. Bad
but they had wins over Connecticut. I know, but rankings also based on it's an all-encompassing scenario.
You're a recency guy.
It's an
You're a recency
it's both.
guy.
It's both.
You love recency. Recency bias.
All right. We're not going to do a comparison of rankings. All right.
I go overall. I count those non-conference games early in the season the same amount as last week's loss.
I have good sources. And someone told me that in your initial draft last week, you just forgot Kansas existed as a program.
Yeah, I was out eating in Charleston. There were more important things.
No, I'm going to say this, brief rant. Rankings, doing them is very hard. You get to like 11 and you don't know. Throw darts. So that's why I put Seton Hall in.
Not because you went to Seton Hall?
No. They were
definitely not.
Okay, they were the first team out. Did you have them ranked?
Yes.
Oh, look,
No, exactly. My point proven.
That we agreed on something, so it probably means I'm wrong.
Correct. Very true.
See, I want to one time for you to be right, and then we all look smart for siding with you. But I think siding with you is all right.
Dangerous.
Let's keep talking about Richmond. Beat Dayton. Yeah. Chris Mooney unbeaten in the Atlantic 10. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's a great story. You look at Chris Mooney a year ago, and he had a heart procedure and had to step away for the season. We didn't know how serious it was. He comes back, flips the roster, completely flips it. Right, gets a transfer from ETSU, who ends up being absolutely terrific. This team right now, again, they've moved themselves into consideration for the NCAA tournament right now.
I mean, this was a massive win for them. If you're going to get 2 bids out of the A-10, right, it's going to be Richmond who's going to be the second one. That's going to be the other team. And they got to keep winning. And they just landed the one marquee win that you can get. Because here's the thing about Dayton. Dayton is in. Yeah. As long as they didn't do something dumb, and I think they're good enough to not do something dumb, they're going to be in the tournament. Right. And getting this win for Richmond is the kind of thing that can eventually, if it's all said and done, get you on the right side of the bubble. And we talked with Chris Mooney last week for the A10 Insider podcast, and I don't know if he necessarily expected this. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think that he necessarily expected this to be this good.
Right, he definitely did not expect this.
No, it's a great. I mean, for them to beat Dayton, who's had a terrific season.
They've won 13 in a row.
It's amazing.
Now Richmond's won 10 in a row.
Yeah, it's
10
amazing.
10 in a row, and they've done it quietly because people just start paying attention to the A-10. Like, you know, again, they don't have a lot of depth right now that's in the equation for an NCAA.
Isaiah Bigelow was 12 and 15 for that kid. 15 rebounds.
Listen, we had someone chime in. Jeff Rogers gave us a super chat. Shout out to Jeff Rogers. You give us a super chat, you get a question answered.
Really?
He wants to know, he's asking me, why is Jeff such a prick? and Jeff Rogers, I'll give you the answer right now.
Well, what?
Because that's what he is.
Why would you say
that's
that?
Like saying,
Why?
like saying.
No, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
That's like saying, why is Rob a UConn fan?
Hold on a second. Did that? Yeah, nothing tonight.
You know what else is? I didn't give you the rest of the answer.
I don't know if going in on rankings.
Reckham Tech.
That's
it's a Texas Tech fan. You don't respect the Red Raiders.
Now wait a minute. Hold on a second. It was a super chat.
You don't respect Grant McCaffrey.
I do.
So hold on a second. Hold on. It was a super chat. So did the guy pay to ask the question?
Yes.
Jeff, you paid to ask that question? Come on. You got to be better than that. I mean, seriously, he paid money just to ask that. We got 5 more minutes left.
No, we're going to get through all these questions.
We're not going 2.5 hours tonight. What's that? Yeah, let's go to the Mountain West preview. I did want to go to the Mountain West. Colorado State goes down to Wyoming. That's notable. Elsewhere in the Mountain West.
No, we got to talk about the Wyoming game first. We got to get to that first. Wyoming had the biggest regular season comeback in the history of Division I basketball. They came back from 11 points down with 50 seconds left. The only comeback in this sport in the final minute bigger than that was the 2016 NCAA tournament when Texas A&M was down by 12 with
That's
34
insane.
seconds left and came
It's
back to
stunning.
beat Northern Iowa. 11 points in 50 seconds is what they came back on.
that's
And
unbelievable.
I don't know if you guys saw the highlight clip. Check out the Field of 68 Twitter account, the
I'm
YouTube
gonna
channel.
check 'em out.
We have the clips up there. They
What
got
happened?
not one, but 2 offensive rebounds on missed free throws in the last 5 seconds. They were down by 5 with 5 seconds left and won the game.
What do you think Nico Medved's going to be working on tomorrow?
I am going to go out on a limb and say that he is going to be practicing free throw box outs.
I would think so.
I think that that's probably going to happen. I think it's fair to say he's a little bit upset about that. But
You can't lose that game. I mean, if you're Colorado State, you can't. You're up like that in a
Laramie,
minute
bro.
to go.
You ever been to Laramie? You don't walk into Laramie, Wyoming, and expect to get
Okay.
a victory, okay?
Rob, you could have been playing the game on
Put some respect on the
Jupiter.
Cowboys' name.
You're up by double digits with a minute left. You got to win the game.
Got to win that game.
You have Isaiah Stevens on your team. Is there a world where, and I love the Mountain West, but it does, like, I think this league could get 5 teams the NCAA tournament.
I do too.
Is
4
there
or
any?
5.
Is there anything that would keep them from doing that? Like, can these teams beat each other up and it's fine?
Well, you can't be losing.
Yeah.
You can't be losing to Fresno State.
Well, Wyoming,
San Jose State.
can't be losing to.
I know,
but
I know.
when you look at
That one hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
But when you look at who's gotten healthy and the wins that they're starting to pile up, it might be like that's probably just going to be a quad 3 loss. And if you're Colorado State and you take a quad 3 loss and you already got to win over Creighton on a neutral, and you got some other good wins
You'll
in
be
the league,
okay,
like,
but you can't
fine.
keep losing.
Yeah.
Well, what they're probably going to end up doing is putting themselves in a position where they went from being a team that could end up getting like a top 5 seed
Yes.
with Isaiah
8-9.
Now
Stevens
they're at 10.
to now like it's going to be
8-9.
hard. Like you're going to have a tough
But I
spot.
will say this: if I was a 1, I would not want my second round matchup to be against Isaiah Stevens in Colorado State.
true.
That team is good, and on their best day, they can be really, really good.
All right, I got another hot take for you.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
We talk about how good of a job guys like Dan Hurley have done this year as a coach. We talk about Hubert Davis as a potential national coach of the year. Danny Sprinkle
Yeah.
at
He's
Utah
done an amazing
State
job.
goes on the road and beats Boise State. That was a game for first place in the Mountain West. He has an entirely new roster.
I know what you're going to say.
Entirely new team. First place in a league as good as the Mountain West is.
National.
At what point do we start having a conversation about whether or not he's national coach of the year?
It's honest. It is. Like, I'm serious when I say I was doing an exercise last week for a broadcast. I wasn't exercising. I will get a walk in tomorrow. But I was doing an exercise. I'm very true to myself here. I was doing an exercise last week where somebody said, hey, do you have 4 National Coach of the Year candidates? And I'm not kidding when I tell you, like, I thought of Hurley. I thought of Hubert and the bounce back year that they're having. I actually gave Porter Moser a thought, but I didn't keep it. But Danny Sprinkle's got to be under consideration.
It has to be.
No question.
Again, most people can't even name a player on their team. And right now they're in the top 20. I can't wait to get out there. I'm going to go to a game in
Are
a
you?
couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm going to get out there. Never been, and I want to see our boy, great Osibor, right?
Great
It's our guy
Osibor.
now.
You're gonna love the special. You
I
are going
can't
to
wait.
How
love
about
it.
his day today?
It is an unbelievable environment.
Great Osibor today. He shot the ball 5 times in the entire game.
That's it.
14 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists.
Wow, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a great win for Utah State.
And Darius Brown III went for 19 points. Hey, big game in that league tomorrow, Rob. Pick a winner.
New
Nevada at number 25, New Mexico. Nevada 16-4, New Mexico 17-3.
Do you know
Where that game is.
what that game is?
It's at the pit.
Do you know what nobody does?
Wins
Win at the pit.
You don't go into the pit and you win. You don't go into the pit and you win.
Tuesday, brief, and this is our cap around Mountain West. San Diego State at Colorado State. That's a
big game. Big game for Colorado State.
Rams, baby.
Got to bounce
The
back.
Rams.
Fort Collins.
The
Gotta
Rams.
bounce.
Yeah.
The Rams. Rams win it.
I can't wait to see you out of Utah State.
Going back-to-back Utah State and then the pit. 2 places I've never been.
Wow. All right,
Can't
go
wait.
ahead. What do you have?
No, I was going to say, we got to end with Toast of the Night.
All right, toast to the
Toast of the night. Go ahead
Go ahead.
first, sir.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Go ahead, Bobby.
My Toast of the Night, first and foremost, toast to Friartown. First time I've been to Friar. First time I've been up
Toast
here
to
in a long
Friartown.
time. So that's my first
Right.
toast of the night. Get that one out of the way because I know that's what we're all going to say.
What else you got?
My next toast of the night The University of Vermont, UVM, back-to-back road games.
You didn't even go to the
At
game.
UMass Lowell, at Bryant.
And you didn't go to Bryant.
Picked
It was
up,
right here.
picked up back-to-back wins.
20 minutes away, you didn't go.
At UMass Lowell, at Bryant. They are now all alone in first place in the America East. And if you're in the America East, you need that home court advantage in the America East tournament to have a real chance to be able to dance. They put themselves in a great position to have home court advantage throughout the America East tournament to get to the NCAA tournament. So it's John Becker to the Catamounts,
Yeah.
C-A-T-S. Cats, Cats,
Johnny
Cats, go,
Becker.
Cats, go.
Here we go.
Go, Cats, go.
All right, go ahead.
My toast of the night is to a guy who scored 36 points tonight. One Caleb Love.
I love it.
When you do well, I'm gonna give you a lot of play because you deserve it. You were efficient. You went into Eugene and beat an Oregon team that again is dangerous, well coached. That's a hell of a bounce back win from an awful loss against Oregon State. So Caleb
Cheers
Love.
to Caleb
Caleb
Love.
Love. All right,
Okay.
Fanta, send us home.
Okay, I'm going to first cheers Brian Earl, Nazir Williams, and the Cornell Big Red.
Big win.
Cornell hands Princeton only its second loss of the year, and don't look now, but Cornell is 15-3 on the season.
Wow.
I mean, when was Cornell basketball ever that good?
It's been a long time.
You ever been up there?
It's been a long
2012.
time. I've not.
It's been a while.
I've not been.
2012.
There we
They
go.
made it to the Sweet 16.
12 years ago.
2012.
Steve
So
Donovan.
to you,
shit, that was
Cornell,
12 years
Whitman.
ago.
That was-
Fuck.
we're like,
I'm
when
getting
was the last
old,
time
man.
Rob goes 2012? That
The next year after that, I saw Ryan Whitman walking down the street with his teammates in Indy at the Final Four with a 12 pack in his hands.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Nazir Williams with
Shout
a
out
big
to Ryan
game.
Whitman.
Chris Mannon with a big game, 16-11. Shout out to Cornell. But my biggest cheers of the night is to you, Providence fans.
Friartown.
Friartown brought it. They brought it. Hey, give me a Let's Go Friars to close this out. 3, 2, 1. They're the best here, folks. Union Station Brewery. Union Station Brewery, thank you to Union Station Brewery for hosting us, for putting together a great night. These fans were at Murphy's
Awesome.
at 9 a.m. and
They're out of their mind.
16 hours
but I
later,
love
they're
'em.
still
How
here.
many people took a nap today? Anybody take a
Did
nap?
anyone take a nap?
Who took naps today?
They didn't take
No
a
one
nap.
took a nap? No naps?
Thanks
No
to
naps, baby.
everybody.
No naps. You let it ride. All the way through.
Thanks to Trevor Valise. Thanks to Dagan Hughes. Thanks to the
even
Bear.
Thanks to Dagan Hughes.
Yeah, even
Right?
thanks.
Even
Happy
Dagan.
birthday, Dagan.
Happy birthday,
The
Dagan.
weekend celebration continues. Thanks to Trevor. Thanks to the Bear. Thanks to Rob. Union Station Brewery. Thank you to Jeff. And I'm John Fanta. Thanks to these great fans. Thanks for tuning in to the Field of 68 After
We'll
Dark.
see you next year.
We'll
when
see
Ed
you
Cooley comes back.
We'll see you next year. These guys will talk to you from Hartford tomorrow for UConn.